Today I'm going to share with you a lesson plan that I created for a course and for my students. I've titled it The Life of an Explorer. I currently teach 6th grade social studies, and we are learning about the age of exploration. I've asked my students to create a project concerning the life of an explorer, and here you can see a project description that I have given my students. I've listed 10 explorers, put them on a sheet of paper, and put them in a hat, and so my students randomly chose an explorer. And I'm asking them to research and explore. And there are many things that need to be included in their report, I've listed them below. I ultimately would like them to do a video in presenting their information to reenact basically the explorer's life, but this is not required. There are other options that they can do, as long as they include everything that I've asked them to include. I've given some examples here, but we talk about it more in class, and I make sure that the students that don't want to do a video are doing something that fits them and their learning styles. So here you can see a list of things that I've asked them to include. The basics: who is the explorer, a bit about their life, where he explored, the reasons for the exploration, and such. But here you can see this piece here: display the knowledge gained by the explorer as a result of the expedition. Put yourself in the explorer's shoes. Explain details about life in that time, how the explorer may have felt due to circumstances in life, and why he is seeking new things. This, to me, is the most important aspect. By the students being able to research the explorer and recall basic facts is fine and pretty simple to do. But I want my students to be able to understand what life was like during this time in history. And so by researching what was going on in history, knowing what people had access to and what they didn't have access to, having the students really put themselves in the shoes of their explorer and having empathy and expressing that in their project is important. So I've asked them to do this. I want them to think about what was life like, what technologies did they have, not have, what medicines and did they have or not have, and how did that affect their lives? Did this explorer have a wife and children? How do you think he felt when he had to leave or left on his exploration? How would he feel? And so by really doing some research about Europe during this time and this person's life, they can then take the facts that they learned, that they gained, and put it all together into a project and reenact or share with us the life of an explorer. I also wanted them to create a map of the explorer's journey, and I wanted them to do this through scribble maps. I'll show that to you in a moment. And then I also wanted them to include a timeline of their explorer's life and include at least 5 points with the descriptions. And I wanted them to do this on time toast, and I'll show this to you as well. I created a rubric for my students to have, and this allows my students to understand what they need to do to be successful. And I included historical accuracy, knowledge gained, required elements, and then the timeline and map. Now, before I gave my students their project description and rubric, I made sure that I learned my students' prior knowledge about European or the age of exploration. And keep in mind that we've been studying European history up until this point. The students understand Europeans' thinking. We were studying the Renaissance prior to this. And so they know what the Europeans, how they were forwarding their thinking during this time. So they get it, they understand. But to ensure the understanding of everyone, we created a PowerPoint. It wasn't just my creation. I set it up for the students to develop their own definitions of the terms that exploration, and so they wrote a definition of it. colonization, and what this meant. And this all led to class discussions. I mean, we talked about history, and what we've been learning about wasn't just define it and move on. And this led us to the reasons for exploration. Now, we made a list of reasons for exploration and talked about them in detail and what they all meant. Notice the last one, claim land for a country. Land equals power. And this, we discussed empire building, and this will lead us into World War I. So we created this PowerPoint together, and then I gave the students their project description and rubric. So they knew what's expected of them at this point. And then they were to research based on some resources that I give them and more. They're not limited to what I give them, but they can find great resources on their own. So let me show you a few resources. This I found, Become a Spice Trader, and I thought this was good because it brings in literary element. The students are able to read this, and you can see it tells a story. You at the bottom you choose to, are you ready to start your travel? So you're going to start your travel, and it's an interactive story, and you have to make some decisions based on and explore what you need to do. So here, as you can see, this explorer has to determine, are they going to sail unarmed or armed? And then based on the decision, the story will change. So this is a fun way for the students to learn about life during this time and the decisions that some of the explorers had to make. I also provided the students with a good resource here. This is Explorers Index, and this is a website that has many explorers here that the students can access and learn about the explorer's life and details about them, but of course, again, not limited to this website and the others that I give them. The students are asked to create maps in Scribble Maps. And here you can see an example of Henry Hudson's exploration. And this here is 2 explorations that he encountered, or he did, and they're mapped here. And you can see the dates on there. So this is one created by a student. And then the timeline. Here is an example of a timeline that was created about Henry Hudson, and here it starts with where he's born and then goes into his explorations and further in his unknown death. And here you can click on to expand and give more detail. So this is fun for the students to create a timeline of their explorer. So I wanted the students to take all of the information that they gained and to utilize that and create a video or similar project to reenact the life of an explorer, to put themselves in the shoes and to really analyze and be creative with the information that they gained. So some of the students did a video and actually reenacted the life of an explorer. Some utilized first-hand documents and they created like a picture video. They animated, not animated, they did a voiceover on the photos and sort of created a photo collage and did a voiceover on that. I had one of my students, she didn't want to be on the video, so I talked her into possibly doing a puppet show, and so she was good with that because then she didn't have to be on the video, but then she was able to participate in the video making, so that was fun for her. And then I did have one student, she just wanted to create a journal. That was fun for her. She wanted to actually write on paper and create a journal of her explorer's life. So the students really did a good job with this. They took their time, they really put themselves in their explorer's shoes, and so I really think that they gained a lot of knowledge through this project. They did a good job. Thank you.